Iftar to be held in Westminster Hall. I know it means a lot to everyone here now, but it will resonate beyond these walls and these very high ceilings. At a time when Muslims are at the sharp end of an increasingly divided and violent world, it is even more significant and special that he has made time to join us this evening. Prime Minister, welcome.
Thank you very much, and it's really fantastic to be able to join you. I absolutely wanted to be here for today, for this event, and to have the first of these events here in Westminster Hall is really, really fantastic. I want to start by thanking the speakers of both houses for hosting this event. I think that shows the strength of unity and also to the APPG, of course, on British Muslims for organising it. It's fantastic to be able to get so many people here together in such a symbolic way, in such a symbolic place. So it is absolutely fantastic to be with you as people gather in homes, in mosques and communities around the country during this special season. Come together in charity and service and welcome people of all faiths and none for an iftar. Now don't worry, I'm not going to speak for too long because I hear the food tonight is fantastic and we all want to get to that sooner rather than later. But it's excellent to be here to celebrate with you, and not just to celebrate, to say thank you. Thank you for the incredible contribution of British Muslims to the United Kingdom, something we're really proud of across the whole of our society. In every community in Britain, you see Muslims making a difference, helping to deliver every single one of the government's missions. In business, helping to grow our economy. In education, giving our young people the opportunities that they deserve. In our NHS, of course. In charity work, British Muslims are amongst the most generous group in the United Kingdom and beyond. So I must say thank you to you for all of that, and particularly what I know has been a very difficult time for Muslims here in the United Kingdom, with the pain of the conflict in Gaza and the suffering of the Palestinians. I've been profoundly moved by the images of thousands of Palestinians returning to their communities, only to find rubble where their homes once stood. And those images of the last few weeks have been really impactful on me, on you and so many people, of thousands of Palestinians walking literally through rubble to find their homes and their communities. And those pictures must be in our mind's eye when we make decisions about what's to happen. And I'm absolutely clear in my mind that Palestinians must be allowed to rebuild and that we should stand alongside them in this effort on the road to a two-state solution, the only way to get lasting peace, in my view. So as the people in Gaza celebrate Ramadan amid the rubble and despite the conflict, I'm proud that the United Kingdom has announced £17 million in humanitarian aid. And let me be absolutely crystal clear, given current circumstances. It is absolutely vital that aid can get into Gaza at speed and at greater volume to those who need it. Absolutely vital. And we should do everything we can to make sure that that aid gets in at speed, at volume, to the people who need it. We will also do everything we can to sustain the fragile ceasefire, to see the hostages returned, put an end to the suffering, and secure a better future for the people of the Middle East. But I also know that conflict abroad affects communities here back at home, and I think this is felt more profoundly now than it has been for quite some considerable time. And like you, I'm horrified by the wave of hatred we've seen directed towards British Muslims, whipped up, of course, by far-right rhetoric and disinformation. It's shocking, absolutely shocking, that 2024 was the worst year for anti-Muslim hate crime since the Home Office began collecting data. That's shocking. I always thought these numbers would go down, that we're on a better trend towards a better society. They've gone in the wrong direction to a record high. That's how serious it is. And of course, they're just statistics, but behind those statistics are real people impacted every day by this hatred, fearful for their families, fearful for their children, facing harassment on our streets. So let me be clear, there is no place for anti-Muslim hatred, Islamophobia, or anything like that in Britain. And I hope you saw last summer, ceremoniously, our response to the riots, that we will not tolerate a breakdown in law and order or religious hatred. That's why we announced £29.4 million through the Protective Security for Mosques scheme and a scheme for Muslim faith schools. Now, it's good that we've been able to do that. It's terrible that we had to do that. And that's why, in addition, last week we announced a new working group which will advise us how to understand and identify prejudice and discrimination, a definition in order to tackle anti-Muslim hatred. But I know so often the answers come from the community as well. And I saw that during the riots, people standing up for their neighbours, the builders who came out to rebuild the mosque, the imams who responded to protesters with such kindness and empathy, offering food, having conversations, building relationships and understanding. That is the true spirit of this country. Those images in Southport the day after the riots of people literally rebuilding that wall in front of the mosque, spontaneously coming together. That wasn't organised, that was people wanting to come forward. That is the true spirit, in my belief, of this country. That is the spirit of British Muslims, and that's the spirit of Ramadan. And it's in that spirit of embracing one another that I am delighted to join you this evening. May you have a peaceful, blessed and fruitful holy month. Ramadan Mubarak. Thank you so much.
Ladies and gentlemen, whatever your political persuasions, that is what a Prime Minister sounds like. It leaves it to me just to make some closing remarks and to say some thank yous. So I want to start by saying thank you to the Speaker, the Lord Speaker, the Lord Great Chamberlain, represented by Blackrod, for the permissions in making this Iftar happen, and particularly to the Yeoman Usher, who really has held this whole thing together. Neil, I am so grateful for everything that you did. I also want to thank the staff of all their officers, the security staff and all the other parliamentary staff who have worked incredibly hard over weeks and weeks to make this happen. So a round of applause for them. I want to thank the award-winning caterers, Spice Village and Suleiman Bai, who, with his generosity, has today provided the food himself without any charge because he wanted to feed the hungry. Thank you so much, Spice Village. I want to thank our supporters, Muslim Aid, the Aziz Foundation and others. I want to also thank the world-renowned artist, Mesut Curtis. You will be hearing from him straight after me. He has joined us today. We have the blessing of his phenomenal voice, and we have the generosity of Awakening for supporting him. Thank you so much, Mesut, for coming over here at short notice and being a part of this with us. We've had speakers, and I thank them all from across the political parties and none. I thank Your Excellencies, ambassadors who have taken time out to share their iftar with us, and the Secretariat of the APPG, and particularly Mubin and Hassan, who have worked incredibly hard to make this happen. My co-officer officers at the APPG, Lord Armour Sarfraz and Sarah, you keep the great tradition alive, started many years ago with Anna Soubry and Wes Streeting. This group started in 2007, now in its 9th year. It continues to grow from strength to strength as a convener, an informer and a thought leader in these difficult times. We could not do it with you without officers, past, present and hopefully future. And finally, Prime Minister, thank you for sharing this historic iftar with us. With the creme de la creme of British Muslims, we did think that this was going to be your most high-profile moment over the last 7 days. But clearly, international affairs had other plans. Your leadership during the summer riots was necessary and appreciated. And for so many of us who have now been in this country for multiple generations, it gave us hope. Thank you. I was at the time, and I said so at the time as a Conservative, that I was grateful that we had a Prime Minister in office who wanted to heal and bring communities together. Your leadership over the last week on the international stage for a fair and just lasting peace in Ukraine has been commendable. The first role of any government is the security of our nation. As someone with a long and proud family history of service in our country's armed forces, and with a child in uniform still serving today, I for one sleep well knowing that in these dangerous times we have a grown-up and a serious person at the helm, something that not everyone in the world can say. Speaking of fair and just, can we also, all of us, Prime Minister, congratulate you on your amazing judgment in your appointment of a serious and grown-up Lord Chancellor. An appointment that was personal to so many of us, but particularly to me. She does us all proud. I also commend you and the Deputy Prime Minister on the announcement of my friend and colleague, the former Attorney General, as chair of the working group on defining Islamophobia. Dominic Grieve is the right person to lead this work, and this work was long overdue. Can I particularly bring to your attention, though, Prime Minister, your very articulate and tenacious Health Secretary. I regularly gym to his morning media rounds and appearances, and his attendance and words of support at the launch of the British Muslim Network last week was honest and humble. He has been my partner in crime for many, many years. The work that we do on Islamophobia would not be possible without him, and I hope, Wes, we intend to continue to make mischief for many years to come. I think what I'm saying, Prime Minister, is that you have a very special team, and dare I say it, it's definitely stronger than the one that you play five-a-side football with. And with that, it is my great pleasure to introduce Mesut Curtis, who is going to perform a small nasheed, and after that we will be breaking our fast. There will be a call to prayer. A prayer facility is being made available, and of course you're going to enjoy the delicious food. Ramadan Mubarak.